Did a video the other day about this Steve Lawson guy, this big church guy that had some problems, some perversion problems, and I said about how that happens all the time in the church buildings. And I woke up this morning, I was laying there, and I was thinking about it, and I thought, you know, I haven't really talked about this whole thing for a while, and I need to say some things about it and bring up an old video I did many years ago, before I even moved to Maine. So over 10 years ago, and it was about independent fundamental Baptist Catholicism, is what the study was called. And in that study I showed the true origin of church buildings and the fact that they have steeples on them. And the steeple is a architectural feature that harkens back to ancient Babylon with the obelisk phallic symbol. And I know that there are little children that watch my videos, so I try not to offend in word, but there are times I have to just explain things just for what they are, the literal truth of what they are. Phallic symbols are representations, images made of the male private organ, to be as gentle as I can about this. And so you have obelisks, like the Washington Monument would be one of the more prominent, well-known ones. And in Masonic lore, it is about the slain and risen God. And during the act of intercourse, the phallic member is slain and then can be brought back to life and rise again. Baal worship. Again, you have the setting of the sun goes down, the sun comes up. All right, if you can figure out the in-between stuff there, like I said, I'm not going to say anything that would be offensive to families that have children sitting there. They can, if the children say, what does that mean? What's Brother Brian saying there? Say, well, we'll explain it to you sometime. But I have to speak the truth, and I have to tell what's going on. Okay, I'm not going to get into some of the details. You can figure some of that stuff out on your own. All right, so what did the Jews do? The Jews were commanded to circumcise that particular organ, so that foreskin would not have been there. So what would the foreskin, the uncircumcised phallus, what would that have been a symbol of? It would have been a symbol of heathenism, of people that are in rebellion against God. That's what that thing was. So you have this uncircumcised male phallus there, this big image that's 60 cubits high, and they come on and they play this rock music or something probably, and they say, okay, everybody bows down. And there you have some Jews, Orthodox Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. And they say, bow down to this uncircumcised male phallus, this image of Baal, this Baal shaft, sexual object, perversion. And those Jews say, I'm not bowing down to that thing. If you say, I don't know, Brian, I don't believe this modern day obelisk symbolizes the male organ. Okay, then take a look at what Buenos Aires, Argentina did to commemorate World AIDS Day on December the 1st of 2005. And again, I apologize for these images in advance, but it's important for me to show this, to show you how evil this whole thing is. There you have a picture, first of all, of their obelisk down there in Buenos Aires. Now look at what they did. They covered it with a gigantic, huge there, pink condom. What are they trying to symbolize? If that obelisk is just an architectural design or something like this and had nothing to do with the male organ, why would they put a pink condom on it? What are they doing? They're showing you what that obelisk really is. They are showing you it's the male organ. And by the way, it's interesting there, that perverted, wicked nation, Argentina, had a big economic collapse years ago, and they're basically in financial ruin. Gee, I wonder why. You know, could it be that maybe God has a controversy with a nation that first of all has these phallic obelisks and then decorates it with a pink condom? You say, well, Brian, I don't understand. What does the obelisk have to do with independent fundamental Baptist churches? Well, let's take the parts of the recipe here. First of all, let's take the Greek Parthenon. Okay? Greek Parthenon. Now let's take the obelisk and let's put them together. What do you get? Well, you get a independent fundamental Baptist church building. And right there, that picture is an independent fundamental Baptist church. Greek Parthenon out front with the columns and an obelisk on top. You say, oh brother, now you're trying to say that the steeple is an obelisk. Oh, this is ridiculous. Well, here's another website link. You can go there and let's read some of this. It says, quote, the architectural genealogy of the tower or steeple displays other phases of the alterations of the upright. All towers are descendants of the biblical votive stones, and in multiplying have changed in aspect according to the ideas of the people of the country in which they were raised. This architectural genealogy of the tower or steeple gives many varieties. The groups on page 244 supply new changes in the tower or upright and furnish evidence how it passed into the Christian times and became the steeple. When thus changed and reproduced according to the architectural ideas of the builders of the different countries where the same memorial pillar was raised, it assumed in time the peculiarities of the Gothic or pointed style. The steeples of the churches, the figures of which we give on page 244, indicate the gradual growth and expansion of the Romantic or pointed architecture, which is generally called Gothic, and they prove how the upright or original phallic form was adopted and gradually mingled in Christian architecture, in reality at last becoming its dominant feature. Now, do you realize what you just read? Well, actually, let's continue here real quick. There's another one. Figure 96 there represents one of the western towers of St. Paul's Cathedral, London, which is one of the double lithoi or obelisks placed always in front of every temple, Christian as well as heathen. Do you realize what you just read? What is the steeple? The steeple is an obelisk. Pointed shaft going up. The point is, if you were to drive into a town someplace and you, trying to think how I can say this, you pull into the town and there's a building there, and on top of that building is a perfect representation of a male organ. Looks exactly like one. You know, a word that starts with D and ends in do. Just to say it that way. If you saw a building like that in a town, would you walk into it? I mean, it would be so foul and so disgusting, you'd say, oh, what is that? Look at that building. It has a huge, 18-foot tall male member sticking up on the top. You say, well, of course not. I wouldn't walk into a building like that. I mean, would you take your children in there? No. Well, if you did, do you think that there might be some spiritual consequences of that? Maybe some perversion that would come as a result of people going to that building? Yeah, it's exactly what would happen. And you say, what? But we're Christians, we can go into a building like that and we can sanctify it. Yeah, we're evil, or excuse me, the building itself is evil, but we're righteous, so we can go in there and it won't affect us. In that vein of thinking, you could say, well, it wouldn't affect us if we go into a adult bookstore. As Christians, we could go in there and we can sing hymns and whatever else. You see what I'm saying here? You say, no, that's not an option. You cannot compromise on that level. But yet, people do it with the church buildings. The steeple is a phallic symbol, according to the architecture. I mean, I showed it in my study. I've proved it. It's not my opinion. And yet, you have these professing Christians and they say, we can go into these buildings with these phallic symbols on top and we can just be fine. Absolutely fine. And, and it's not just, well, okay, there's a few examples of where, there was some perversion problems. It happens all the time. Literally every church building I've ever been in, there were sexual problems going on. If it wasn't the pastor, then it was a church member or a deacon or whatever else. And I mean, just all the time. And why? Well, because if you actually put the real image on the building, nobody would question. Nobody would say, oh, I wonder why we're having problems. But you veil it in the form of a steeple, and people then say, I don't know why we're having problems. It just seems weird. Why did brother so-and-so fall? And again, where's it at in history? Where's it at in church history? Where is it at in the Bible? Where are they going into temples, in Christian churches, I should say? They went into the Jewish synagogue, certainly. But where are they going into church buildings? And I'm going to tell you right now, because I know church building people. I know them very well. I was raised in church buildings all my life. Well, until I came to my senses and got saved. But I know church building people. And every single one of them is going to quote Hebrews 10:25 down in the comment section. Hebrews 10:25, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. Okay, if you would actually do the study into that, it doesn't have anything to do with a Christian. Okay, not one thing to do with a Christian. Not to mention the fact that it's assembling of ourselves, saved people. Okay, it's written to Hebrews in the time of Jacob's trouble, who are supposed to assemble together, not publicly, not in a building with a steeple on top. All right? So you're taking that verse completely out of context if you want to quote Hebrews 10:25. And they just kind of leave off conveniently the verse in Acts chapter 7 that talks about, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands. Just kind of missed that one. We'll do the Hebrews 10:25, but we miss Acts chapter 7. Convenient, very convenient. So I'm going to put some different video clips in with this video here, and put the links at the end so you can watch the whole study. But understand, if you're out there and you're just a new subscriber and you haven't seen a lot of my old work that I've done, I've spent literally tens of thousands of hours on studies over the years, just bringing out things and showing stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. And I don't say that as a bragging thing. I say it with great sorrow, because unfortunately the vast majority of Christian preachers are deceivers, and they know it. They preach out of Bibles that they don't think are perfect. They're in buildings that they know are wrong, that they know are not founded in the scriptures. One of my mentors in the Lord was Peter Ruckman, Dr. Peter Sturgis Ruckman, and in his book on how to build a church, a successful New Testament church, he actually says as soon as you get a church building, you are anti-New Testament. I have the video to prove that, showing from his book, showing the actual quotes. There's a conspiracy. Unfortunately, there really truly is. And people just cannot let go of these church buildings. And they will defend them to the death. Even during the scamdemic, when people were being told to do things that went against their conscience, went against the scriptures, we still have to go. We still have to go to church. We have to be a member of a good New Testament local church. What is that? Look it up. Look it up. There's no such thing as a New Testament local church. All right? There are groups of people that meet together, and they can meet together anywhere. They come together, they are the church. I'm in church right now. I mean, literally, it is, get my watch out here, just about 9 o'clock, Sunday morning. There you go. Okay? And I'm walking around in the woods talking to a camera so I can go to the office and upload it to the body of Christ that's watching. Oh, that's a heresy. That's you're a renegade and whatever. No, I'm actually following the scriptures. Not, having a camera and all that stuff. I understand that. I'll be using a modern form of communication. But, we were talking about things of the Lord this morning and quoting scriptures and whatever to each other while we're, getting breakfast ready. And we talk about the Lord all the time. Not just when we're in church. And especially a building that's pagan and satanic. And they are. You put a steeple on top of your building, you have a satanic building. And then you wonder why. Why do we have problems here? I wonder why brother so-and-so left his wife for that other guy or another woman, or, the youth leader was there and he was messing around with a teenage girl, and what are we going to do now? And Get rid of your stupid church building is what you need to do. I mean, at the very least, take the steeple off. All right. Of course, they won't do that. They'll, you know, oh, the steeple points people to the Lord. Well, if Baal is your Lord, then yes, it does, I guess. So, but that's going to be it. I pray you take heed to my words, because God cannot bless something that is not clearly written in His Word. He just simply can't. And especially when you have something that's very clearly pagan. You cannot sanctify paganism and make it into some kind of a holy, wonderful thing and whatever else. And you know, I know somebody's probably going to try to find loopholes to this. And, well, okay, but what about this? Or what about... Stick to the subject. All right? And if you want to try to talk yourself into accepting sin and whatever else, well, that's your problem. Again, I can't help certain people. You can't either. And if you've been saved for a while, you know that. You know I'm telling you the truth. So, but that will be it. See you in upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.
Reverend Joe Combs and his wife Evangeline are about to go on trial charged with child abuse, kidnapping, and rape.
There ought to be something that you care about, that you want God to do.
A lot of the beatings occurred in here where she would be made to stand in a circle. She said one would beat her until that one got tired, and then the other one would start beating her. She was beat with ropes, chains, whips, umbrellas, bats, hammers.
Joe and Evangeline Combs were arrested in November of 1998.
My dad lived a double life, one of righteous family man and dynamic speaker in the public eye, but one of sordid sexual secrets privately, secrets that only my siblings and me and my mom knew. It was craziness, living one way, preaching another.
Lay aside the sin which does so easily beset you. Now that means you can't run the race for God if you've got sin unconfessed in your life.
The church deacon says his pastor stole his wife.
He lusted after her.
He says the pastor controlled his life for years, forcing him to sleep in his basement. The pastor denies it. He has harsh words for the retired deacon.
A fellow who would allow an outsider to send him to the basement would be a wimp.
Thy deacon's wife.
We love you, preacher. Yes, we do. We don't love anyone as much as you. You're not with us, we're blue. Oh, preacher, we love you. We love you. Hi.
Oh, now I know what this is. Well done.
We'll just pretend about it.
This is good. Boomerang?
Yes. We can't see you back here.
What?
We can't see you. You're too short.
Can't see?
You're too short.
Worth it, isn't it?
You look the same.
Haven't changed this a while ago.
No.
Thank you, girls.
Yes, sir.
Where's everybody been this morning? This is the only group that's come.
Well, they deserted you. They don't love you like we do. We love you more than they have.
Group. Usually do.
They don't love you as much as we do. We're the only ones that we got boyfriends now. Yeah.
An awful line for that.
Well, because you know, you're the first one taken, and so they had to go get the second fast.
They don't make them like this anymore.
Right.
They don't make them like this.
Fortunately.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. I love you.
Someone's got to be a son of thunder, waiting for the touch of God, the channeling of God. Is thunder, waiting for the touch.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, God, I'm so tired. Oh, God, I didn't want to lose her. Oh, God, I didn't want to have that pain. Oh, God, no.
God, you love me so much, don't you? Yes.
It is a 12-year prison sentence for the former pastor of a Northwest Indiana church. Jack Scott admitted he had a sexual relationship with an underage girl.
I'm Bob Gray. I'm in Italy, Texas. I happen to be at the monument that was erected in Dr. Howe's hometown in his memory.
I gotta tell you, the money part of it was pretty nice. As a kid, I mean, think about it. Tithes and offerings from 50,000 people. Hello. It created a lavish lifestyle for our family. My father owned most of the city where the church was. He owned a college, 2 high schools, 2 grade schools, a cemetery, blocks of buildings. He was very wealthy. And even into our adult years, he owned us. He owned our homes, our cars, our furniture. He owned our lives. And we didn't dare cross him because we were too afraid we'd lose everything. He died a multimillionaire. He left nothing to his children. He left everything to the organization.
I'm 73 years old right now. You'd be amazed what's going on. I'm right in the middle of a $4 million building program. I just bought a charismatic church. I just bought a hotel. I just bought a vacant lot. Our church is about to enter into a $4 million building program. I'm about to start 2 more schools. I don't know what they are. I just want to start a couple of schools, that's all. I don't know what they are. But bless God, at 73, I've never been as happy. I've never enjoyed preaching as much as I enjoy it now.
You could have chosen a college with many, many things we do not have. We have no government support. We have no denominational support. All we do is barely pay the bills.
And I came across that 2-syllable word, money. I like that, you know. And then I came across this 3-syllable words because I said, I'm going to have to better my education if I run around Dr. Jack Howes. It's the 3 syllables. And I liked it. I got a check one day that says dividends.
The college here, the student body sitting before you here, the staff and faculty, administrators, and a few friends around the country have pooled their resources in the last few days, have raised $70,000 for your 70th birthday. Students, those are 3 armed guards. Don't you try to touch that money. We have a wheelbarrow full of cash for you. Bring it right on up here. That is $70,000 of real cash.
Howes Anderson College, I often say, is not a college, it's an army. Our students are not students, they're soldiers. Our faculty is not a faculty, they're sergeants and trainers, training an army to reach America with the gospel of Christ and to save our country. That isn't all. Howes Anderson College is not only an army, it's a family. I'm not the chancellor, I'm the father. 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 I'm the father.